Hello, hello, and happy Friday, everyone. Welcome into another edition of Titan Talk. I'm Isaiah, and Kilgoon is with me as usual, and we're here chilling today to talk about some Smite 2 stuff. We had a hotfix that went out with some balance and stuff like that, but before we get into that, Pele's Aspect is live, so if you want to try out Pele's Aspect,
I promise
Kilgoon,
you it's good. Just try it. Like, I think that people are, I've said this before, but I think people are too focused on the change to the 3, right? And just the getting protections when you're below 50% health is like really good.
Yeah.
So just try it.
Just try it out.
Give it a go. I think you will find that you deal good damage and also are tanky.
Yeah.
So that has been my experience, both playing as it and playing against it.
Yep. And then another new thing that we decided to try out for this weekend, for those of you who don't own Scylla, she's going to be on free rotation for the weekend. So something new that we wanted to try out. You know, we've seen a lot of people, you know, specifically, I see the post all the time. Why can't I buy this god with a god token? You know, it's like the new character that comes out. So we decided, you know, for the weekend, if you haven't invested into the Founders Edition, if you want to try out the newest god, we'll turn them on for free rotation, you know?
Yeah, no, I think like wherever we can, we're trying to be a little bit more like player friendly about stuff. We still got to make money, you know, but I think hey, you can play Pele for the week, or not Pele, sorry. Scylla. We were talking Pele Aspect, my brain. You can play Scylla for the weekend if you don't own her. It's kind of a fun way of introducing a new god. So if people like it, we'll keep doing it.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, let me bring up the handy dandy desktop, and we will go over the bug fixes.
Chat asks if Baron Aspect is out, and that will be Monday. So on Monday, you'll get your mid Baron, which...
Throw in the brews,
My tiny mind can't remember to throw my brew every 20 seconds, but... when I can, it's very fun.
Yeah. Sweet. So hotfix that went live today, a couple bug fixes. We fixed an issue where Thanatos could get stuck in the ground. And then we also fixed an issue where Bellona could get stuck in shield stance, run left and right. Basically, she got into a state to where no matter what stance she was in, it was just always still shield stance when she was running left and right. But moving on to balance, Kilgoon, I know you mentioned it in an earlier show, but Bloodbound Book, the only one on the list, but we do have some other shield type items that the design team is looking at. But Bloodbound Book is going to be seeing an increase in cost. We're reducing the lifesteal and reducing the shield health contribution from both your max health and your intelligence from items.
Yeah. Shields are a valid thing to exist in a MOBA, and we don't want shields to go away completely.
Yeah.
But shields are really strong right now, even with several anti-shield items in the game now. And it's just, I think we just got to the point where it's too much. We got to rein it in a little bit. And this is the first piece of that.
Yes.
There'll be some more shielding changes coming in the next major update, I believe. So not Monday, but a week from Monday.
Yeah.
But hopefully, at least, we've gotten a lot of feedback from high-level players that Bloodbound Book is just so good in high-level ranked in particular. So we're just making it just a little more balanced, hopefully. So still give you a big shield, still give you lifesteal, just not quite as big of a shield, not quite as much lifesteal.
Cool. All right, moving on to God Balance. Agni is up first. Aspect of Combustion. We removed critical strikes. The critical strikes will no longer provide 2 stacks of Ignite. So got a lot of feedback that Agni Aspect was feeling real good, specifically the strength/crit version of Agni Aspect. So removing that aspect from the aspect.
Yes. It's this aspect has been, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to think the best way to word this. Like, at different skill levels, it is performed very differently. So if you're at a certain level, you maybe are seeing this aspect just be overly dominant. And if you're at a different skill level, you might be struggling to win with this aspect. We think that maybe just taking off this extra stack of Ignite on a critical strike might help bring it into balance for the super good players without making it even worse for players who are still getting their feet under them. So it should still be strong. You know, this isn't a huge nerf, but just that one extra stack of Ignite on critical strikes could be a lot.
Yeah. Anubis is up next. The scales, we're going to be decreasing the lifesteal from 6% to 4% per stack. Anubis has been kind of sleeper really good, huh?
Yes. Yeah, he's been one of the most winning gods at most skill levels. And we think it's basically just he gets a lot of free lifesteal. And there have been a couple playtests where like we have like 3 people like jump on an Anubis and he just heals back to full health and kills us all. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. And we don't balance around our playtests because there's differing skill levels. Like it's more for functionality testing and feels testing than it is for like balance exactly. But I'm glad to see that my feels from playtest have borne out this time, and that Anubis is just a little too good.
Yeah.
So again, still be lifestealing a lot. Most Anubises end up with a lifesteal build, so you'll have more than just this lifesteal, but we just want to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. Up next, Apollo aspect. So a couple notes here. So Beautiful. New, we've increased the enhanced So Beautiful mana cost from 0, scaling from 20 to 40. And then we've decreased the damage scaling contribution from 15% to 10% of item health.
Yeah.
And then Serenade, we've decreased the base shield from 60 to 220 down to 50 to 190.
Yeah, I would say I don't really know too much about this aspect. I haven't talked to design about it, but the shield nerf, I can tell you that is in line with what we've been talking about. The So Beautiful nerf, I guess probably you were just getting your free So Beautifuls and doing too much damage as a support. So that would be my guess.
Cool. All right, just a couple more here. Princess Vari up next. Reverend Steps
I'm going to
for 3.
talk to somebody about this one.
Yeah.
This is, I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah.
You know?
We've increased the cooldown from 15 seconds at all ranks to 17 seconds at level 1, and then all the way up to 15 seconds, or all the way down to 15 seconds whenever you hit max regular ability. Yeah. Got a lot of feedback that this is the place where Princess Vari really needed a nerf. So
yeah, we'll see if this has an effect. You know, Bari's another one of those gods who can be very strong at certain skill levels. So we'll see how this evolves.
Yeah.
She's also just really fun to play.
Yeah.
So you should play her if you haven't been. And then we got one more.
Yep. Last up, Scylla. Mentioned on the show, we fixed an issue where Crush could explode slightly faster than expected. And then Quick Learner, the passive, we've decreased the intelligence from 25 down to 20 per stack. So I saw Clumsy talking with the ambassadors earlier today. Basically, Scylla's just performing really well across all skill levels, all modes. This is just meant to be a light tap just to kind of bring her down just a little bit. It's not meant to take her out of the meta or anything, but she's just been performing really well. And she's also starting to see an increase in the ban rate in ranked.
Yeah, and I will say there was an intentional kind of secret +1 about being able to cue your Crush explode while it was midair, essentially. But I think when we looked into it, we found out that it was exploding slightly sooner than it should have with the queuing. So I believe you will still be able to queue it to explode, but it just won't be quite as early as it was.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, that is all for today's Hotfix. Those notes are live on Steam, Discord, Reddit, and social media. So if you want to pull those up and check them out at your own leisure, you can definitely do that. That was everything I had on my list. Kilgoon, I know you had a couple points that you wanted to talk about before we got into Q&A.
I have 2 quick monetization things. In general, we're taking a look at some things and trying to find ways that we can simplify and be a little more player-friendly where we can. So we're going to do two things in this next update. So this won't be live until the next update, but I just wanted to talk about them right now. It's kind of a little bit of some of the stuff that we're looking at. First one is that we are going to be doing away with classic skin tokens, because there was only one way ever to really get a classic skin token. And some people are sitting on them and kind of waiting to use them, and they want to use them for certain skins, but you can't use them on all skins. And it was just kind of a confusing experience. It was a bad player experience. And that's why we didn't add another way to get those tokens going forward. So instead, if you have a token sitting in your inventory, you're just going to get 2,400 legacy gems when the next update goes live, which is the maximum direct purchase price for any classic skin. So you'll be able to get any classic skin you want if you've got that sitting in your inventory and you haven't used it. And a lot of this confusion came around like Divine Legacy skins are technically classified as classic, but you can't use the token on them.
Yeah.
And there's a couple that were like special event things that are also classic that you can't. So we had to add extra clarifying text to those skins saying, oh, well, you can't use the token on these. And then people were still upset about it. And just, it was leading to more player negativity than positivity. So anyway, you'll be getting 2,400 Legacy Gems if you have an unused token. If not, I think you can still get the token in the first Wandering Market for right now. So, you know, exploit it and take advantage of us or whatever. If you, and going forward, we'll just do the classic skin chests
in the Wandering
Market. So you'll get a random classic skin that is eligible to be given.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will make it clearer for players and will feel player friendly about how we address this one outstanding key that some people have. That's the first thing. Second thing, Wandering Market coins. What happens if you have all classic skins? If you have all classic skins, when you roll the classic skin chest,
you get Legacy Gems.
You get Legacy Gems, but I think it's 800, which is the cost of a Legacy
chest.
Yeah, the chest roll. So it's not trying to take advantage of you. And as soon as another classic skin is added to it, you could then spend those Legacy Gems on that chest roll, or you could spend them on anything else you can spend Legacy Gems on.
Wandering Market coins.
Yeah, Wandering Market coins. Sorry, I got distracted. Wandering Market coins is the other thing. We are very comfortable with the current rate that Wandering Market coins are dropping currently. We aren't making any changes to that. But some people are buying Wandering Market coins. And this was kind of something that we added just as a, hey, in case people aren't able to make their progress through fast enough, you know, you could,
or if they just really want to fast track their way to a certain reward.
Yeah, you can do that. But we feel like the issue with this is that we price these Wandering Market coins at 50% Legacy Gems and 50% diamonds. We're going to change that so it's just 100% Legacy Gems.
Yeah.
So if you want or need more Wandering Market coins, you can just convert your Legacy Gems directly into Wandering Market coins. You don't need to spend any diamonds to do that. We think that makes more sense because they're very similar, kind of like free currencies. And it was a little bit weird to ask you to spend diamonds on it if you had Legacy Gems.
Yeah.
So if you don't have any, then you will need to spend diamonds, right? Like, you know, it's not like they aren't only available for Legacy Gems.
Right.
It's like if you have Legacy Gems, you will spend 100% Legacy Gems on them. If you don't have Legacy Gems, then they would still be diamonds.
Similar to how classic skins work currently if you direct purchase them, right?
Yeah. So again, if you just are sitting on a ton of Legacy Gems and you're looking for something to spend them on, that is an option for you now. If you just want things in markets, if you were not buying like a Traveler because you were like, oh, I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get enough through it or coins, something. Yeah. We know a lot of people are sitting on a lot of Legacy Gems and we're like, oh, they should just be easy to, you know, convert that currency into the other currency. So hopefully that feels more player friendly, that, you know, you still are getting coins for free by playing. You can convert your Legacy Gems into them. And if you don't have Legacy Gems, then you can buy them for diamonds. Yeah. Pretty easy.
Easy peasy.
Yeah. Those are the two changes that I have on the monetization side to talk about today. We got a lot of stuff that we're cooking on right now. We'll see how quickly some of it comes out.
We'll see how much we could talk about on our Monday show.
I've got so much stuff in progress right now. I have this like ever evolving document where like we aren't even going through like our normal planning process. We just are like, here's a list of shit that we're trying to get fixed.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much we get changed. But I feel good about where things are going, and hopefully people are excited for the stuff we have coming. Yeah. So that's. Oh, please don't use my real name. Somebody said it. Somebody said Mr. Cantatori, which is my last name.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Please don't call me that. That's my dad. Kilgoon. You can call me Alex if you want to. Alex is my first name, but please do not call me Mr. Cantatori. That's just weird. Sorry, I just.
Caught you off guard.
Caught me off guard there. Yeah, my name is like more out there now because of all this like news stuff. It's not like I was trying to hide it before. Like anybody could look up and see who I was, but it's just like it's weird. Weird. Anyway,
Sweet. Well, yeah, that was it for the agenda that we wanted to cover at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Let's just get into some old-fashioned community Q&A.
Let's do it. I will answer this Mr. Kansas Story question. I didn't actually read it, just because I don't want the guy to feel like I just am calling him out and I'm not going to read his question. But please don't do that in the future. What would I mean in saying in one of my recent commentary on Reddit, the game is ready to grow? Did it mean that the game is ready to become better and interact with more players? The developer team could become bigger at a certain time in the future. From that statement, what I meant is that most of our time that we have put into the game so far has been largely focused on making the game feel good for the most hardcore Smite players, right? There was just a lot of stuff that we were missing from Smite 1 that made Smite 2 just like the basics of I'm running around, I'm fighting, I'm using my abilities, the flow of a conquest match, all of that wasn't good enough, right? I think that very recently we've gotten to the place where your core experience of playing a match of Conquest in Smite 2 is at least as fun and most of the time more fun than it was back in Smite 1. And I've played the games back side to side, back to back, and I think that we're at that point where we have surpassed that. It took us a little while, I'm not gonna lie, but I think we're there. The fact that all of our effort has been on making the advanced most version of the game good means that almost none of our effort has been on how do we make this game a better experience for new players? How do we make sure your onboarding is really good? How do we make sure that maybe there's some changes in like UI design that are more appealing to newer players? Obviously, we wouldn't remove things for the current hardcores. But how do we do things that make the game better for new players and help them understand the magic of Smite? Because the problem, Smite is an incredible game. If you have played, I'm just going to throw a number out there. If you played 20 games of Smite, you will understand Smite and you'll be like, this game is amazing and I'm going to play it for years. Getting people to play 20 games of Smite is the challenge, right? Because there's so much going on. There's so much you have to learn. We need to make that part better. And if we can make that part better and get people, we do a worse job at your first experience than Smite 1 did right now, because we just haven't put a lot into it, right? But if we can make players just feel a little bit more comfortable and learn a little bit more safely and understand the magic of the game, then that's what will lead to us growing our player numbers over time. So that's a lot of the stuff that we're going to be focused on going forward. That's not to say we aren't going to do anything for hardcore players. A lot of the stuff that you see will affect both player bases, but we will start doing more features that are focused specifically at new players that, as the people who watch this show, you're going to be like, I don't care. This is not relevant to me in any way. But for new players, it's stuff that we think could make a big difference and improve their feels. So that's what I meant by that. Hopefully that's a good answer to your question.
Cool. I have one that I think is fair feedback. There currently isn't a great way to test defense builds in practice. Would it be possible to have the other god options that the other god bots you spawn do actions like Neath basic attacks and Cuckoo constantly uses his one or something? Basically like our bot Godfire that we have.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know how easy it would be to set up. Probably not immediately, but I know that there are a lot of things that we want to add to practice in general, right? Like getting stacks is another thing that we're very frequently asked about. Having bots fire could be something that we address in that same, because we have a command that will let bots, the command is bot shoot. So if we say like bot shoot 1-3, then it will all the bots on the map will shoot their one ability 3 times. Like that's the way the command works. So theoretically, we could do something like that.
Seeing a note, let us play with friends on practice. I know this has been brought up before, so maybe as we look at the practice map, something we can take a look at as well.
Yeah, that is something that we are interested in looking at. There's also you can make customs on any map, right? So if you want to like test something with a friend, you can make like a 1 versus 1 arena map, right? And just like run out there and like you wouldn't just be able to give yourself gold, which I understand that. But there are some things you can do on the custom games if you're trying to test like versus a player. Yeah. So VGS fix in practice, that's a far future thing for us. We know it sucks, but it's just like somewhat minor compared to some of the other stuff that we're trying to address.
I'm sorry to report, Sir Honkalot is still called Rucksack Duck on the word skin. Yeah,
I saw Blake was watching earlier. I saw him in chat. Maybe he can change it.
I'm pretty sure this was passed along to the team, though.
Yeah. Has the team thought of making new players play against bots before they can queue against players? New players get yelled at and or see toxicity if they don't perform because they don't know how to play, because there's no real MMR in SMITE 2 and Casual to help with new player onboarding. There is MMR in SMITE 2 and Casual. I will just correct that first. It's just hidden, so you don't see it. But new players are forced to play versus bots for their first 5 games right now. We are going to be doing some more to evolve that and make it better and improve the bots and make it a better experience. But that is something that we are already doing for your first 5 matches, at least. I think the bots can be better and more entertaining for those first 5 matches, but that is part of what we're doing. This is a nuanced question. I like nuanced questions. If console can't have chat yet, can we at least see what PC users type? The problem is not technically allowing that. I could walk to John, who sits right there, and say, hey, can you turn it on for a console? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, dude. But the consoles do not allow this because we have to pass a special certification for like areas where users can interact with other users. And there's a number of things that are required to like that we have to do that, you know, per their standards, which ranges from specific things we need to filter out of chat, ways to report players and handle cross-platform chat. And so we can't just show you chat. Like we would love to, but we cannot. So we will have to go through that certification process in order to be able to even show chat. Yeah. I think they also have a sub rule that you can't show communication that they can't participate in on the platform. So I think that they also have that as part of the rules, but I'm less positive about that. Can new players opt out from bots? It will put off SMITE 1 vets. No, they can't. And you could not in SMITE 1 either. You had to play bots for your first 5 levels in SMITE 1. And this is somewhat standard across most games, that your new player experience is playing against bots for a little while. Is chat certification worse for one of the platforms than the other? I think it's about the same. Yeah. It's just you have to go through it separately for both of them. And I think like, you know, there are some people in chat who are like, I don't want chat on. I don't want to see what people are saying. You know, I think that's fair. And it's definitely something that you can turn off. And, you know, it may even be off by default when we enable it for console and have some more breadcrumbs that like, are like, hey, you might want to turn this on if you want to see what people are saying. But I don't want to be in the world where you just don't see important communication. Like you are unable to see important communication from your teammates. Like there is bad that comes with the good, right? There can be toxicity in online games. We're doing what we can to combat that. We do have some systems in place. But yeah, I think like we don't want to force chat on console, but we think it should be there at least as an option to where you can see what people are saying. If you're trying to play ranked, like ranked people talk a lot in chat. And a lot of it is actually like strategy. Like a lot of it's bullshitting. Don't get me wrong, but you know, a lot of it's like yo, we got to go fire giant or whatever. You know, like it's calls and it's things that it would be good to be able to see.
Any plans to allow us to adjust combat font size like in Smite 1? Sometimes my tiny healing numbers get lost in combat.
We are, well, not specifically a font size scroller. That's not something we're currently planning. But we are making a change to combat numbers in the next update, which I think is great.
Yeah.
You've play tested it. You like it?
Yeah, it feels great.
Okay.
It's number summing.
Yeah.
If you haven't, if you missed the show, when did you talk about this? I forget.
I don't know.
Maybe
a week
it's our
ago.
Monday shit. Yeah, maybe it was a week ago. But basically, the idea is that instead of like 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, if you've got like a tick heal on you, it's going to be 3, 6, 9, and it's just going to be one number that gradually increases to show that, hey, you're getting either healing or damage taken by the same source, and it's increasing just to be a little bit more clear.
Yeah, and the other thing that's benefit of number summing, right, is that like our numbers scale based on how much damage they do to you, right? And if you get hit by a bunch of like 10s, you don't really notice it as much. Whereas if the number is getting bigger and it's like 10, 20, 30, 40, you know, like you notice the number more as well. So there is a little bit of a size to it.
There are also less numbers.
Yes. So it's less confusing, I think, in the moment. I've been interested to see just like how much damage some abilities do in total. I was playing Guan Yu in playtest yesterday. I got wrecked. But I was playing Guan Yu, and I was like, dude, my Talu Assault does how much damage?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, but when you see the numbers add up, it's just like, it changes the way, at least I can process the game. Smarter players than me are probably able to, you know, do the math in their head in real time. So,
it's also dopamine to see big numbers. I agree.
Yeah. Is it known that you can Cersei's Hexstone out of a Wheelish ult?
I have not heard that.
I had not heard that.
I'm taking notes.
That's a fun report. Did we find the Amir ult bug? We cannot find a consistent reproduction for it. We've seen it happen randomly, but we aren't sure exactly what's causing it. So if you have, Christy Dixon says he has a clip of it too. That's good to know. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that one. Yeah, so I totally lost what I was responding to because I saw the Emir ult. Yeah. I even goofed around with this for like 20, 30 minutes yesterday, and like I had it happen once or twice, but like I don't know why. So it doesn't seem consistent. If there's any like tips you guys have that you've seen that it happens more often in this situation, that would be really helpful to try and really figure out what the cause of it is here.
Let's see a note about the string missing entry for Guan Yu and the Scylla triple typo that we called out a couple days ago. I think that is still on the note. Smaller tech stuff like that, I think we try and wait and get a lot of things in at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
that might just be in the next like full update.
Yeah.
But I think Blake might have fixed all those. But,
Okay,
but
cool.
we should mention them to him again.
Are there plans to keep adding unique active items?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of part of the fun of Smite 2 is that we can do interesting things with these active items. I think that like we want to make sure the balance is still that the most important thing is the god that you're playing, and the items and the active items are a supplement to that. But I still think there's a ton of design space in active items that can add interesting new things for people to play around that, you know, can interact more with specific kits. You know, like this is bullshitting. Please don't take this as we are designing this. It's just, you know, random stuff. But like people have asked for like, oh, I want Raven Ward back. Like Raven Ward could be an item active, right? So it's like, oh, you get a Raven Ward every 2 minutes or whatever, right? Like that would be an interesting way of approaching that, right? Or there are some relics in Smite 1 that don't have an equivalent yet in Smite 2. And theoretically, any of those could very easily
Active
become
items, yeah.
active items, right? Like, there's the shield one. There's the beacon. There's the root everybody upgrade.
Yep.
I think there's
Fruit. Yes.
yeah. I think there's just a lot of things that, yeah,
Could be added.
I will. I'm gonna answer this. Not really, but Kilgoon qualifies everything he says, like I do. Do you also put "ha ha" into every text message you send? No. I go out of my way to qualify things that we say on the show because people tend to like analyze our words very closely and go back and like, well, you said, and kind of do like gotcha journalism stuff. So we just want to be sure that we're clear about things, which unfortunately involves adding a lot of qualifiers in this kind of a world.
Yeah.
But when I'm not doing the show, I'm much less qualifying every statement I make.
Side note about make more high risk, high reward actives, like at the cost of your 40% HP, gain a permanent power for every kill or something like that. I know item trade offs and just like in general has been something that the design team has been floating back and forth for a little bit. So
definitely something that has come up in our design chat.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times in chat with the launch of it yesterday. Smite 2 on Switch 2. Any news, updates, anything like that?
No updates. Kabir got a Switch 2. He was
I
showing
saw
it to me
yeah.
yesterday. It looks cool. This is my unpaid, unsolicited opinion. It feels much more solid than the Switch 1 did. Like, it feels more like Switch 1 always kind of felt a little bit like a toy, and this feels more like a phone or a more high-end piece of equipment. I would say. That said, I'm not sure if Smite 2 will ever have a home on Switch 2. We don't have a dev kit. We would need to make sure that the game runs well. We also would need to understand Nintendo's policies around how they run live service, especially around like updating on Switch 2. On Switch 1, that was a big challenge for us, was just like the pace at which we could update the game.
And we're updating even faster in Smite 2 than we were on Smite 1.
I think there were some good things about the Switch version of Smite, but there were also a lot of bad things. So there's a reason why it is the only version other than the Mac version, which we have, shut down. I guess technically the Luna version too, but that was not very popular. So I would say it would be cool, but probably not anytime soon to have a Switch 2 version.
Did the implementation of prisms change the way you decide which skins are going to get ported over from Smite 1? Speaking of ported skins, Alpha Pack Fenrir win.
I would say I don't think that prisms have really had too much of an impact. I will say occasionally it does come up, though, now when we're talking about bringing over a skin, and we're like,
ooh, how could we prism this?
Prism that, right? But so far the team's actually come up with really interesting ideas for, like, artists are really good at being creative.
Oh,
it turns
yeah,
out.
I know.
So if you're like, hey, make some cool prisms with this thing, they'll come up with something neat.
Yeah.
And we haven't really run into any issues so far with anything. Like, Jingwei we were worried. We were like, how the heck are we going to prism? She's just a bee. Like, what else? And they came up with, this ladybug. And there's actually a couple other ones that will be dropping when she is available as a direct purchase classic skin. Similarly, some upcoming stuff that I don't want to spoil yet. There's some stuff in there that's pretty cool. So, So I think that, like, it has led to interesting discussions around the office, but it hasn't necessarily, at least so far, it hasn't led to us doing or not doing any specific skins.
Yeah. Here's a good question. Is there a difference between working on things for PC versus console?
Yes. Next question.
Lots of difference.
Yeah, no, it's very different. The consoles run different OSs with different, like, APIs that you have to use to do anything, and they have different release rules and different release processes, and they perform differently, and optimizing them works differently. Like, from a very high level perspective, like from Unreal 5, you click like build for PS5, right? Like, I mean, I'm simplifying it a little bit, but like the engine supports the platform, so it's like 99%, like, our development happens in Unreal.
Yeah.
But there are specific things that we need to do for the specific versions a lot of which are around like interfacing with their store and selling things and friends, and all of that is very specific for the consoles. I'll say also, I don't know if I can actually say this, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But consoles can run different like operating systems than PCs that can require code to be different slightly. And I don't know if I can say more than that without, like, I don't know what I'm under NDA'd about how the consoles work and what I can say or not. But I think there are certain things that sometimes an issue will pop up on one specific console because that console's like operating system interprets code differently. So yeah, anyway, it's definitely a challenge, and I'm not a programmer for a reason.
Yeah.
So. It's a surprise crossplay even works. No, it's we built a very complicated backend to make that happen. Like Hi-Rez was a very early adopter of crossplay. I think at one point in time, like the only crossplay games were Fortnite and SMITE and Paladins, basically, and Realm. I think that like we had 3 of the 4 crossplay games that were in existence in the world, right? And we believed from the very beginning that it was potentially game changing, and we had asked to be able to do it a lot of times beforehand, but with Fortnite's might, they were able to force it through and open the door for the rest of us. So we were able to jump on it pretty quickly, and our Rally Here tech team, it's hard, but they built out a whole system that allows us to be able to do that. So it's core to what we do. Yeah, Rocket League was another really early one. They might have been the 5 of us or something, but we were very early adopters of it.
Have you seen / found the Herc shoulder charge bug? I haven't heard of that. The Witchy Bunny, if you could give us a little bit more information to take back the Steam, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I have seen a bug where there's like I've seen a couple clips of people getting like pushed through the world geometry. So I don't know if that's what they're talking about, but those tend to be environment art issues and not actually Herc issues. Yeah. Will Guan Unicorn receive prisms? Yes. Spoiler. They're fun.
It's a Friday show, you know.
I played one as I was getting destroyed yesterday, and it looked really good.
Cap Worshipper ranks to 10 in AI co-op game modes, please. That's something that we were talking about that's been a topic of discussion over the past week or so. I know we initially raised the cap from SMITE 1 to SMITE 2, and we're continuing to have discussions about Worshipper gain in co-op versus AI modes.
Yeah, so in SMITE 1, you were capped at level 3.
Yeah.
And in SMITE 2, you can get to level 7. There's pros and cons for how we approach this. We aren't 100% settled on how we want to do it going forward, but we definitely have heard the feedback. Fast chat.
I know, right? It's moving.
How hard is it to not spoil stuff? Sorry. I just saw there's a skin idea here for a roller coaster Jormungandr.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That's a pretty good idea. He just has the best skins.
I know.
How hard is it to not spoil stuff? I would say it's hard to remember what's live and what's in dev. And I do have to very frequently stop myself and be like, wait, is that got out yet? Because we play so much in dev and we spend so much time looking at the dev client. Like I play in live, but it's hard for me to keep track of what's out and what's not. So it is a challenge. But I think that we do our best. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Do you have a hard time or?
I feel like I've gotten really good at it over the years, just like I always make sure to double check before I talk and just like, I try to keep abreast about what's in live versus what's in dev or PTS. And
I think I think there has been a massive sub gift again.
Oh,
I'm
whoa.
trying to interpret the chat. 100 gifted subs from.
Oh my goodness.
I believe it's our boy. I don't want to get his name wrong. What is it? The something of the sun who has delivered.
Oh my goodness.
Song of the sun. Is that what?
Shout
it is?
outs to you.
Yeah, dude. I want to make sure I get your name because like the way that we see chat, we can't actually see.
Yeah, we can't see any like sub notifications.
Yeah.
Smite Game says thank you, Song of the Sun.
Yes, Song of the Sun. Thank you so much.
Shout outs to you.
We
Thank
appreciate
you so
the support.
much.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Man,
Sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't
Right?
mean to interrupt. I was just like, whoa.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I think we had this discussion before about can you make Totem of Death and Oathsworn Spear have the Executioner treatment by making it give int or strength depending on the max value between the two. There's no ability pen item for strength characters. I think that we don't necessarily want both sides to always have exactly the same items. And sometimes it's for balance reasons. We want them to be priced differently because we want them to come at different points in a build. So we could do any of this, but we do want to make sure that it feels different to be building a strength like ability focused build versus an int ability focused build. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, and I feel comfortable saying it just because Pon said it the last time he was on the show. Strength items are something that is on the design team's list. You can probably anticipate some strength focused buffs in the next update. Witchy Bunny, I've got that. Thank you so much for the Herc shoulder charge. So it looks like he is indeed pushing people into the environment.
Yeah, that can happen. Sorry, a lot of long questions.
Yeah.
It's harder for me to like read long questions as chat keeps moving, but I am doing my best here. Chat's just really excited about Song of the Sun.
I know,
with
right?
the gifting, so thanks again. That's really awesome. Somebody thinks I've been hitting the gym. I have not.
Oh,
man. That's erroneous. How many all new gods are currently in production? We have like 2 all new gods that are in various states, I would say right now. But we are focusing more on classic gods right now because we feel like what the game needs right now is more polish, better new player experience, some more focus on core systems, and not, adding a new god isn't going to move the needle for us in the same way right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we aren't doing any more new gods, right? But it does mean that our dev focus right now is not really on those 2 all new gods that we have in development, which I think are going to be really cool. But we're focusing more on classic gods that we think players are really excited about, and that aren't necessarily the hardest category of, like, we aren't specifically looking for easy gods anymore, I would say. But we also, like, I'm just going to say Tiamat it has a million things going on. Probably not going to be prioritizing Tiamat in the next few months at least, right? So that's an example of the kind of character.
It's cool though. I see the notes about the playtest every morning, and it's just like, wow, the last playtest had like 4 classic gods that aren't in live yet.
Yeah,
they're moving along. It's really
moving fast, and I think people are going to be excited about the lineup, right? Like, I mean, I think this most recent like Scylla and Ganesh wave is pretty sick. Ganesh's aspect, you guys are going to lose your damn minds.
We'll talk about it on Monday. No spoils.
You are going to lose your minds. At least I lost my mind.
Yeah.
It's maybe less flashy than some of the ones we've done before, but it's very cool. So I think there's a lot of cool stuff to look forward to, and we've got a lot of Independence Day stuff that we're going to talk about on Monday, which will be fun. And I'm excited for as many of these, new feature things that we're doing that we can talk about. So I'm praying that you guys are keeping secrets only because you're going to shadow drop like 8 classic gods. Everyone would go nuts. That's not going to happen. I just want to, allay any thoughts that might happen. We generally believe that we're better off just doing gods as quickly as we can and not like stocking up things in the background. So if we were capable of going faster, we would probably be more likely to do like a god every week like we were doing, instead of doing like holding 8 or something.
Is it intended that when you want to buy, for example, an item worth 1,000 gold and you have 1,000 gold on your person, you can't buy the item. You then need 1,001 gold
This
to buy
bug
it.
has been driving me crazy. Can you write that down?
Yeah,
We can see if we can get that addressed.
You need
I
more
agree.
gold. Yeah.
That is one of the most annoying bugs in the game because it's just the littlest point of frustration where you're like, oh, fuck you. Come on. Like I totally get it. We have 4 classic gods that aren't live right now. Yeah, that's right. So about maybe even 5, but we because they're going through different parts of the pipeline, right? So some of them, like the furthest one out, like the kit is just at its roughest version, right? Some of them don't have FX yet. Some of them don't have audio yet. Some of them don't have animation updates. Some of them don't have model updates, right? It's just like we get things in as early as we can so that we can play test with them and polish them as much as we can through the process. But yeah, we have to work pretty far out because the whole pipeline takes quite a bit of time.
I'll say that's one of the most interesting things after joining the team and getting more active in playtest is like training your brain to just like fight against or as one of these characters that's very rough, but like the bones are there, but like not everything is there.
Yeah, I think that, chat that participated in PTS when we tested Scylla and Ganesh got to see that a little bit with Ganesh's like big orange ball. I think it was. It was just like it was just an untextured orange ball, right? And it doesn't look right, but if you know what it's supposed to be, you can play against it, and you're like, oh yeah, this feels like Ganesh, or it doesn't feel like Ganesh. What is the god development pipeline in rough order? I'd expect effects to be one of the last to be complete. Yeah, audio and effects are usually the last things to come in. Usually it's like concept, modeling, rigging, animation, tech art is kind of like starting with rigging and then going all the way through the end of the pipeline doing various things. But and then once animation is done, then effects and audio.
And of course, design is present throughout that entire process.
Yeah. So, but that's most of. I might have forgotten a department. I apologize if you're listening, department that I forgot. But I think that's everybody. And that's kind of the pipe. Who took the first death to Dharmic Pillars in dev? I'm not sure. But in one of the first playtests, Dharmic Pillars was doing like 1,000 damage. Ooh. And I feel like everybody was just dying to Dharmic Pillars that game. What are your thoughts on a Smite Cart teleport skin? That's an incredible idea. Somebody mentioned that a couple shows ago. It's on the list. We do have 2 new teleport skins coming as part of the Independence Day. Yeah. There's going to be both I'll spoil a little bit. There's going to be both like a traveler for Independence Day, and there's going to be a supporter shop bundle. And the supporter shop bundle has some pretty cool new teleporter effects. Is there SR decay in ranked? I feel like you should need to play to stay at the top. I'm not sure if there is SR decay right now. I don't know if that's been implemented or not. No. But it's a good note. Can we get the ability to add tags to God builds? For example, Nemesis AA versus Nemesis ability, coming from Zoidberg, our prolific guide creator. That's a good question. How would you see that working versus, like, you could obviously just put the text in there. Like, what functionality would you want to have associated with that? I think would be interesting.
Would you want to just like filter like a tag and see all the builds for that play style, or only underneath a specific god?
Yeah. Can we punish deserters in ranked with SR loss? Yeah, if you desert, I believe you are penalized. So. This is a bug report. Vari Spirit Form free cast ability will take the cooldown of the ability if you detransform during the cast, and it won't give you the free cast.
I'm taking that note. And it won't give you the free cast.
Yeah. Are aura items ever coming to Smite 2? Maybe not prots, but CDR or movement speed. There are some auras in the game right now that just aren't really tagged like that, right? So like War Flag effectively is an aura item. The tank attack speed item isn't
Shoguns,
right? Shoguns of Fuda, not Kusari.
Yeah.
Gives people attack speed and an AoE around you. So there are some auras, but it's not. It's definitely not at the same level as Smite 1. I think that the prots really are the thing that we feel is the biggest hidden frustration point potentially.
Yeah. We're going to get some insight into Ganesh next week. Yes, the plan is for our Monday show to be our big kind of open beta 12 show. We'll go over Ganesh's aspect and another aspect, as well as some of the Independence Day stuff that Kilgoon has spoiled and a whole lot of other stuff. So,
yep, lots of fun stuff. Susano aspect soon. That's interesting. We haven't talked about Susano aspect internally. I don't know if design has an idea for it, but I haven't heard about it. That's sorry. I just was like, I didn't realize he didn't have one yet. I'm not a Susano player, so I don't interact with him too much. All right. Thank you, Zoidberg. I see your message. And that is helpful. Is it possible to get a long-term God roadmap that's formatted not as an order of set dates, but more as a currently in development pool? Even things that have entered development have then left development because of shifting priorities over the years. So there is still some risk with that approach, though it is a little bit easier. Yeah. So I would say that's a maybe, but still probably not. Ranged Susano sending little tornadoes as basics. That's funny.
Ooh. Let's see. One thing that I want to bring up, because I've seen a couple of people in chat just talking about toxicity and the process in which we handle it. So one of the questions is like, what's the process from report to action? So basically you report in game, that gets sent to us. We've got a dedicated support team that goes through all the player reports, and then we take action as appropriate based on the reports and the findings of those reports. We also have the ability for you to contact support directly. If you feel like your in-game report isn't enough, you can contact the support team. I believe it's just hirezstudios.support.com. I know there's a chat command if somebody wants to hit that for me, if a mod is watching. There is a little chat bubble in the bottom right of that page that you can do to directly contact the support team. You can attach evidence, screenshots, pictures, and talk with an agent directly if you want to do that on top of your other game report. And then we've also got some really cool stuff that we're working with a third-party partner called Get Good. Basically,
they put out a video.
They put out a video. I believe it was on LinkedIn or their YouTube.
Yeah, probably hard to pull up on LinkedIn.
But basically, it's a tool that our support team has been using in conjunction with them to really get real-time data on things like AFKs and leaving. And we get those matches recorded and sent to our support team. And we have somebody that's literally reviewing that. That's their main job. It's just reviewing reports, reviewing the data from Get Good, and taking action on accounts that we need to. So.
Yep. It's really cool tech.
Yeah.
Like it's like we can see everything you're doing in a game. Like it does take time to go back and look at, basically it flags things that it thinks might be suspicious, and then we have to go back and look at them. But it's interesting.
Yeah. We've got chat logs recorded, all that stuff that we go back and look at.
Why don't I have a drink? I do. It's just
it's hidden. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I've got. I guess we can do it online.
Cherry twist.
Cherry
twist
for
today for
both
of us. Yeah.
Matching my shirt. This is my cherry twist shirt.
You've got to get the watermelon along next time.
They don't have a watermelon.
I know we don't have one. No, they do have one.
Oh,
we just don't have it here. Yeah,
we have a watermelon Celsius here, or C4 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some other less
we
good.
We have a plethora of energy drink selections here at the office.
We're not beating the game dev allegations. Yeah. You know, it's just slamming energy drinks and making video games.
Sherbet Alani is goated. It is so good. Yeah. That and the Orange Dream. It's like a creamsicle. Chef's kiss.
Sorry, I don't know what this was a response to. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I was just like, there's like inter-chat chatter. And I'm like, what are we talking about here? Any plans for crossover skins like there were in Smite 1? I would say eventually. It's something we'd love to do. I've had some conversations with some interesting brands that would be great to collab with that I won't talk about because nothing's signed, obviously. But again, just like going back to kind of what we talked about a little bit earlier in the show, we need to make the game a little bit more welcoming to new players before we do anything else. Because if I do... I'm just going to use a crossover that we've already done because I don't want to, get everybody's hopes up about anything else. But like, if we do a Ruby crossover, we get a lot of new players who like Ruby and see that we're doing a Ruby thing, and they're like, "Oh, I'll check out this game that Ruby is in." Mm-hmm. And you don't want them to have a horrible experience because they like Ruby and they want to, they came over to check out this game. We want them to have a great experience and then to keep wanting to play Smite for forever, right? Or if the game's not for them, then not, sure, whatever. But I don't want the game to be actively pushing you away the way it is right now. Ruby mentioned, like I just picked one at random. Sorry. Chat says
that was our first big one, right? Because we did Bob Ross Sylvanas.
Did Bob Ross, and then
Ruby was the first battle pass.
Yeah, and we did what else we did before that? We did not really a full crossover, but we did the WWE Connor's Cure thing.
Oh yeah, yep.
Which was fun. That was supposed to be a bigger crossover, but alas. Yeah. And we did Bruce Buffer announcer pack, which is not really a crossover, but a little bit celebrity thing. Yeah. So we did a few things. Will we finally get the SpongeBob crossover? I will spoil this. We were specifically told that our kind of game was not appropriate for SpongeBob because he cannot be used in like fighting environments. Like you can't. The kind of combat that we have is not appropriate for SpongeBob as a character. So it was something we really wanted to do. We pitched them on a million times. Yeah. We were like, what about if we do it like this? What about if we do it like this? And they were like, no, for some reason, you cannot do your kind of game combat with him. So, and I understand that he does karate in the show and he has existed in fighting games, but we talked to a lot of different people over there, and that was the consistent response that our game in particular was not the right kind of combat for him. So. Do I have hopes for the Sylvanas Mushroom Tier 2 ever returning? That is a rare favorite, I will say. I think that one actually did make it into Paladins too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think it made it in as a Paladin skin because Grover was a character in Paladins as well. One of my favorite Paladins characters. Yeah. But I don't know. I haven't really thought about that skin in a long time. Somebody says, you can't say I executed SpongeBob. Like, yeah, probably that's part of the,
Yes, Dan B. We are looking into that Ymir bug. We talked about it on our last show, and we're trying to get it reproed internally and a fix out because we've got multiple reports from you all that it is an issue, and it definitely feels bad.
Yep. Give Skinless Gods some love. We're working on it. We had this big push to get a bunch of gods in the game, and we just didn't prioritize. We didn't make any skins for several months. We didn't prioritize skins. So we just kind of got a little bit of a backlog, and we didn't we didn't schedule very well. We didn't think about this backlog of gods without skins. So we are working through that list. I believe everybody that doesn't have a skin has something at least scheduled
on the calendar.
But that could mean still several months out. But we are aware of it. Please reopen the application for the ambassador program. You said sometime.
Yeah, sometime. I've got to talk to design about it a little bit and figure out when the best timeline would be. But it is something that we've been thinking about internally.
What did Bobby ask? Somebody says Bobby asking the real questions. I don't. Oh no, I can't. I can't say that one. Thanks, Bobby.
Oh man. SMITE 1 had an option to mute everyone in the settings. Could this return for the players who want to just focus on VGS?
Probably. Yeah, that's probably
we had
a setting
it was a few different settings in SMITE 1. It was like mute everyone's just voice and text, and mute everyone's everything. I forget what it was. I have to go back to SMITE 1 and see what those settings were, but that's good feedback.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's 2 p.m. Kilgoon.
Oh, geez, is it already?
Man, time flies when you're having fun, huh?
Yep.
So it's time for one more question.
And we already did the Alani check today.
Yeah, we did Alani check already, so we're covered.
So recap real quick for this weekend. Scylla is on free rotation if you want to give her a try. We just dropped the Pele Prism this morning.
Pele Aspect.
Sorry, Pele Aspect this morning, so you can play Pele Aspect.
We had a hotfix go out with some balance and bug fixes.
Yep.
Those notes are live on Steam and Reddit and Discord and social media.
And then on Monday, we're going to be diving into next update.
Looking at 12, baby.
Ganesh and a bunch of new cosmetics. And
Ganesh Aspect, another Aspect. Clumsy's going to be on the show with us on Monday.
Scylla Aspect. We already said it's
Scylla Aspect. Yeah.
Yep. And then a lot of fun stuff. So don't miss Monday. It should be a big show.
Let's see here. Would it be possible to use the Prism color tech to select certain forms of a T5 skin? Thought it'd be neat if you don't want the level evolution.
So theoretically, yes. We actually have been having some discussions kind of along those lines. But it is a little bit of extra work. It's not a free thing, but it is something that could work. So we've been talking about how we might achieve just that. So good question, good thoughts.
Yeah.
And then I will. There was a question. I don't see exactly where it went, but somebody said they've been asking this question for a while and they felt like we hadn't answered it. So I will answer this one. Is Ranked Joust coming anytime in the next 3 months? If not, then I will just give up asking. We're a little bit hesitant to split the Joust player pool right now, and there's not historically been a lot of Ranked Joust. People in chat seem to really enjoy Ranked Joust. It was not a very popular mode in terms of number of people playing it ever. It was our least popular ranked mode other than Duel, but Duel is a weird thing that only exists as a ranked mode. So I would say we are going to be running some experiments around how our queues are structured. And as part of that, Ranked Joust might make a comeback in the next 3 months. I can't say for sure yes or no. But that's why it hasn't been a priority so far, is because it was never a hugely popular mode in SMITE 1, even though there are some people who are really passionate about it. So we will do our best to make sure it's something that is addressed and there is an outlet for people that want to play competitive Joust, but just in the right timeline. So I can't say it's going to happen in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Also, somebody says that I'm 110% a Golgari main, which this is Magic the Gathering talk. No, historically, I was more of a Selesnya guy. I have a Dimir deck, and I think my other two commander decks I have right now are mono green and mono black, which does kind of put me in the Golgari tree. But no, I would not think of myself as a Golgari guy. So good questions though.
I'm a Gruul guy. I love Stompy. I love big creatures. I love going fast.
Yeah,
that's my thing. But in terms of commander, I normally just gravitate to a creature that I think is cool and just build around them.
Yeah, there's so many cool commanders now.
Yeah.
Like when I started playing Commander, like it was still called EDH because I'm old, and like
Elder Dragon Highlander.
there weren't that many cool legends to build around. But there's just so many now.
Yeah.
So
And even more because it's Final Fantasy pre-release weekend.
Dude,
That's going to be my weekend.
I don't even know, man. That's crazy. We should start playing again at work, though.
Yeah,
That'd
we
be
should.
fun. There used to be a group that played every Friday at work
Yeah.
and kind of fell off. But I would like to get back into that. So anyway,
Maybe we stream our Commander games in here. That'd be fun.
that could be a fun Friday.
Yeah.
We could just get a couple other people and stream a Magic game and then
Right.
do Titan Talk or vice versa. That would be cool.
Oh, sweet. Well, Kilgoon, thanks so much for joining me here
Yep.
on the show. Chat, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope everyone has a great weekend. We will see you back here on Monday for our Open Beta 12 show, where we'll be showing off Ganesh and a whole lot of other cool stuff that is coming to Smite 2 in the very near future. But until then, we will see you all on the battleground. Peace.